So unfortunately, Clark's not here, so there's nothing to really talk about other than obviously he is rebuilding this boxcar.
Yeah, he scraped off the grab irons.
He's putting a new end on it, new roof on it. He's really, about the only thing he saved was the sides.
Uh-huh.
So here's Chuck sent us this, and you can read what it says. He said he could not get on the internet because he did not have a good enough reception up there.
Yeah.
He said he started to build it in Arizona, and what he's building, I guess, is the Fairfax. What is that?
Bottling company, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was talking about beer, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was wondering how the beer got transported over there. That's what the building looks like. You've got a couple of, looks like 3 elevators behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Whether those elevators had anything to do with the bottling works making beer or not's another thing.
I don't think so.
I wonder what if that boxcar in front looks almost like it's a Northwestern Herald, but I've never seen one with those kind of lettering on it.
Right.
I think what's fascinating is the chimney with the metal strapping reinforcing, because it is so small and so narrow. It was a brick chimney, but it was then wrapped.
You know, because that's probably off a postcard, it could be that they have manipulated the postcard.
That's true.
So here's the building he built. Chuck built some really fine buildings.
It's a beautiful job on those top windows.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wow.
The windows may be bought, but I don't know. A lot of his stuff is totally scratch built. He didn't say. Here's another picture of it, although it's not the best picture in the world. And there's the other side. A lot of character to it, isn't there?
Yeah.
So this is what I've been working on. I probably built that in the 1990s. That's a water treatment plant, and there was one in Tama and one in Boone. And to the right over here, that's the top of the well.
No.
And the well is under half the building. And there's a steam engine in here to pump water. Now, the building was built in the 90s. What I've been doing here is putting it on a diorama.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the other side. There's a little leak in the tank, a little bit of green grass. I should have said this is the lime house. In order to treat water, they put lime in it to get rid of the hardness of it. And I included all of the interior.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the proper size. You know, you could buy 2x4, 2x6s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the instructions from the evaluation said exactly how big those were, so I did it too.
Nice.
So here's some. Doug isn't on here, is he?
No, he's out of town.
Oh, okay. So this is what he's been working on. I think the Western Grocer was in, well, I'm pretty sure it was in Marshalltown. Although I cannot tell you exactly where that's at. It doesn't, these must be industrial tracks, because this creek here, I think the railroads are up here on this side. So he's laying some track work here. Got another one. This is the, I think this is the slaughterhouse, I believe. Because I've seen this before when he, okay, this must be the grocery. Interesting, it looks like the backside is cardboard, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like a work in progress.
So perhaps the only thing will be, the front will be, and the ends will be the only thing that is made out of plastic. He's got a big yard going, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Looks like he's got the print on the wall. So
Yeah.
he has a good idea what he's doing.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And this just came in a few minutes ago from Jan. He's, okay, that's a Westerfield boxcar. Carved off the intermediate roof ribs and replaced with .005 strips. Ready for weathering and dull coat. And there they are, I guess, lacking the trucks, but they're ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I am done.
All right.
If we run out of time, I got some other stuff. But
Okay. Well, we're not going to run out, but if we run out of material.
I got material.
Good. All right. Anybody else want to present? I've got an update I can give.
I think you're on.
All right. All right, you guys can see that?
Yeah.
All right. So last time we talked about my layout, the ORDAC project had become stalled because I had difficulty figuring out how I was going to wire for the LED lights and the track bus. The track bus would be easy enough, but I really didn't have a good idea how to do that. So I just decided to sit on it for a while. And I got working on the bench work and finishing the laundry area so that I could get the point-to-point layout finished with a loop for continuous running. And I've also got some wiring issues that are problematic because I built a different layout in this room when I first moved here. And then I tore down a couple walls and tore down most of the layout, but I tried to salvage part of it. And so the wiring has kind of not really been properly adjusted. And now I'm moving to power districts. So I got that to work on too. I haven't really done anything about that. So that should be in next steps. What I did, I got a good idea out of the Indy Junction clinic I attended by Bill Schoonmaker. And that was to create a custom PC board. So I'll show you how that worked a little bit. And then I've really spent the last 2 months doing bench work, doing drywall, painting and all that kind of stuff. And so I've gotten to the point now where the bench work and the road bed are pretty much done. And I'm ready to lay track there. I want to do a little more painting before I do that. And then what's coming up now is I will, once I get the parts I ordered for these PCBs, then I'll be able to finish the ore dock and connect that up to the ore yard and test it. And then we'll lay track in what I call the Western Passage, the hidden track area. The staging, the tie plant, I think is the industry I'm going to put in this alcove I'll show you. And the engine facility, and then I'll do all the electronics, make the new panels and all that. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the next few months. Here's some pictures. This is where I left off at the last time I did an update. I think it probably was 6 weeks ago or so. So the drywall is up here. I think we saw joists down here when I gave the last update. So now I've got this piece of 1/2-inch plywood that I cut. And I'll tell you, I had to buy this plywood new, and it was expensive. So I didn't want to mess up this cut. I did wind up extending this area down here out a little bit. And then stuff's getting painted and everything. This is a little alcove. So what we just looked at is actually through this little hole here, and there's another hole here. And this is going to be where these drawers are going to have cars in them. And this will be a little fiddle yard here where you can build up new trains and take cars off the layout and stuff. I have one of the first things I bought when I was getting back into the hobby 25 years ago was a 120-foot turntable. Escanaba has a 90-foot, or had a 90-foot turntable, but I have this 120-foot Walthers turntable, and I'm finally gonna install it and get it working. It was installed on the last layout. The hole was cut and it was ready to go, but I quit working on that when I decided to make a bigger layout. And that old layout had a duck under it, and a friend of mine hit his head pretty hard because he insisted on getting under there. So I started dismantling that layout the next day because I just couldn't stand to see him hurt himself. This is the homosote going in. You can see the pit here. So I've cut out this homosote for the foundation of the roundhouse because there's little pits in there. So this is out in the driveway, making sure everything fits. And I had to use a ruler and kind of estimate where these things, so you can see my marks there. So it fit the first time. I was pretty happy with that. This is the rest of that area. So the railroad, like the ore dock, is kind of down this way. Everything comes off the other end of the layout and goes through this passage. I can get through there. My son tried to get through there over the weekend, and he can't make it. So I can't gain any weight, or I won't be able to get down there. But this staging will go off down here to the right then, and there'll be some it's a kind of a truncated engine facility, but we'll have some models in here. And this will all be painted blue. And so that'll be that. So this is the alcove. This is where I wanted the engine facility to go, but my turntable's too big. I probably should have sold that turntable and bought a 90-foot one, and then I could have fit it in here, but that's all in the past now. The funny part about this is you see this drywall goes around this exhaust pipe from the heater. There's going to be a curtain that hangs down here. And so I thought I planned this pretty well, but I did have to deal with the homosote. In here is the milled homosote from whatever that company is that does that. And the other stuff is the Menards 1/2-inch homosote. And then back in here is where there's this S curve that comes to a hole that you can't see here. And somehow I managed to screw that up. So when I got done, I got to this stage, this was at the right height. And this was about somewhere between a 1/2 inch and an inch off. The track was coming in too low. And so I was concerned, this is a mess back here behind the walls. I was concerned that I wouldn't be able to undo the bench work I'd done back there to get it to the right height. But I went back there with my drill, and I actually got that fixed pretty easily. And then the problem was I didn't have enough clearance from underneath this exhaust pipe. So here I've got the milled homosote down here now. That looks great. I still have this problem. I haven't done anything about it yet. And so here I went and bought a new piece of pipe and cut this hole bigger. And then so you can see I've got the screws off here. Those screws had kind of rusted on there. That was not an easy thing, but once it came out, I put I did this when the temperature outside was about 100 degrees. So I was like, I sure hope I don't wreck my air conditioner here. But it turned out to be a pretty simple thing. I figured out how this goes together and got it together. So it actually sits a little higher than this now. and there's plenty of clearance for the trains to get through. So that was the last obstacle there. This is yeah, so it's screwed back on. So this is aluminum and this is tin. I hope that doesn't cause any problem, but I guess when my heater guy comes to check my heater, he can figure out if it needs to be redone. And then the last thing, this is the great idea from Indy Junction. So I attended this thing on this clinic by Bill Schoonmaker on going on this website called easyeda.com and learning how to do these electronics. Now with electronics, I can follow directions and I've done some cool stuff and I have friends that know what they're doing, but I don't really understand it too thoroughly. So Easy EDA was not easy for me. And all I wanted to do really was create these little boards. The idea here is that on this side, there's going to be a bus, two buses that come through here. One is for track and one's 12 volt for the LEDs. And so this is actually the bottom in this view is the LED bus. And these outlines here are for these terminal blocks that'll go on there. So there'll be a terminal block here. The two buses will come in. They are connected to each other with, I forget what they call them, tracks or whatever. You can kind of see behind here how they're connected together. And then I'll put a resistor here and a resistor here, and these will be the leads for the LEDs on this side, and these are the leads for the rails here. So this will be permanently attached to the sections of the deck of the ore dock, and these will be wired in. And then if I ever need to do any maintenance or figure out what went wrong, I can just unscrew the terminal blocks and the wires will come loose, and then I can pull the whole assembly out and work on it if I need to. Hopefully I won't, but this also just makes it a lot easier and you can see the size, it's pretty small. So on the last update, I think I showed I had wires going everywhere and I was trying to use SIP pins and it was just not working. So hopefully I'm waiting on these pieces to come from China, and then these will be ready to go, and that'll get me back to work on the ore dock. This is the other side, so you can kind of see how these wires work. So the 500 ohm resistors will go here and here, and so hopefully that'll work. I got a bunch of these because they're cheap. The shipping is like $20 to get them here from China, but they once I had a friend of mine help me and we were pretty confident with this design. I think they had made these the day after I approved the Gerber drawings or whatever it is, and so now I've just been waiting a week for shipping. These things showed up after about 6 days from when I ordered them, and the other pieces should be here. I'm hoping tomorrow or maybe the next day. So that'll be the next thing, is to see if it works. And that's it. Uh-oh, there we go. All right. So anybody else have anything else to share this evening?
I got a little short if nobody else has anything.
Okay, yeah, let's see it.
All right, let me find it. I thought maybe I would just show some of the old Woodland Scenic buildings.
Yeah.
Some of you might have these. If you do, I'd be glad to hear you talk about them. This one has the interior in it. I don't remember whether there's any interior in this or not. These buildings are all made out of metal, and they don't go together very good. But I found that if you use some epoxy, there's a epoxy that's like metal. When it gets hard, why, that fills the crack up very nice, and you can just, and when you're done, it looks like there's no crack at all there.
Hmm.
So here's a couple more. These are all Woodland Scenic. The tavern and the guy putting up the sign. Gas stations. This gas station over in this area here is named after a good friend of mine who passed away. That's part of the layout. I guess it's kind of, I don't know, maybe it's, people think I'm crazy, but you know, you got a good friend, you want to remember them.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's where they're at. I think I built that sawmill a long time ago, but now it's just part of the junkyard. I'm not sure what this was, but it's I use it for my ice house office. Has anybody else built Woodland Scenic buildings?
Not me.
I have a bunch of the kits that I haven't tried to work on yet. They are very crude when it comes to the joining, I'll admit that.
Yeah, I've got some too, and I've used a sanding block to square the edges up. And then I soldered them on the top corner and the bottom.
If you use the, I'm trying to think who makes it now, but it's a common thing that you can buy in the hardware store, and it turns, it's black, it's two-part epoxy type stuff, and it turns into metal.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
That really works beautifully to put these things together.
JB Weld.
Thank you. That's what it is.
Yeah. See, lead is normally or naturally a slippery material. That's why you can use it for bearings and stuff. And JB will hold for a while, and then you can actually peel it off. So be leery when you pick any of those old ones up, because they may fracture at the joints.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen, because I sure been using it a lot.
Yeah. And of course, if you use goo, then everything turns into like a cobweb. Parts just stretch apart.
So then we move over to Dynamodels, and I'll ask the same questions. Anybody ever build any of those?
I almost bought the company when I found out it was for sale. Then I found out how much they wanted for it, and I said, nope, not me. So
this one is the slaughterhouse, and they come with a complete interior detail. And you know, it's I like to build them. They're a little bit crude compared to today's standard, no question about that. I mean, the castings are all metal, but
are they still around?
I don't think they're in business, but you can still find them on eBay quite a bit.
Oh, sure. Yeah, the lead problem was the major issue.
It probably put them out of business.
It did. The EPA just came down on everybody who was casting lead, and really all you got, well, you can cast cadmium, but then you run into even more health problems.
Well, staying here with this slaughterhouse for a minute, you'll note that I do have a track here. However, I really don't, I have one car card for coming in here, but this slaughterhouse is so small, you would never see a railroad transport anything out of here. This would all come out by truck. Mm-hmm. And of course, the truck can't get in there because there's a railroad track there. So that's kind of in the wrong place. Again, some more of their buildings. This one is the hat shop and shoe repair. This particular building, I showed that on the NMRA AP. And even though it's a kit, I got enough points on that to, I got my 89 or 86, 87 and a half, whatever it is, because of the extra detail and stuff that was in there. Mm-hmm. This is the restroom, and notice there's some toilet paper here.
Yeah.
That's what you got you over the edge.
So this is the butcher shop that's behind the slaughterhouse. It too has all of the, there's the toilet here, there's the cool room in here, and all the different meats and stuff, and a guy, a butcher here. There's stuff in the windows, and kind of neat to build them. And this is on is not level track, so this is, somebody told me this makes a good break, one of these little clippies. This is, I think, a number 4Y. Got a terrible switch. I got 2 of them, and I wish I didn't have any. A 6, I think, is the absolute smallest you ever should get on a Y.
Oh, it's just too sharp for you.
So here's the barn, and you'll notice the roof has got a sag in it. That took me a long time to make that sag, because the model does not have a sag in it.
How'd you do it?
I just kept grinding away at I think that's a cardboard roof.
Oh, okay.
And there is a piece of wood underneath it to hold it steady, but I probably made the wood a little bigger and actually made the curve in it.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that this is the poultry house, and that's made by Woodland Scenic too, along with the fuel tank. Although that's a GHQ manure spreader. And you remember when these things came out at Walmart, had these cars, if you, what they call them, sweet cherry, and I tell you, we picked up every one we could find from Michigan to Iowa. Every time we went by a Walmart, we stopped and bought every one they had. So here's some Erdl houses. They come pre-done. There's been nothing done to this one at all. That's the way the house came. And they are a plaster. This one, being the store, was an awful lot close to what we had in Gladstone. I added this because the store did not come with that. And I'm not sure if I did a little more, something else in this area, but the rest of it is just like it came from Erdl. This building is a kit that Erdl made, and I reversed, one side is, whoops, pardon me. This is one, and then they want this side on the other side. I didn't like that, so I put these all on one side. And here's my good friend, Bob Rue. He was really good at gluing things. If a little glue was good, a lot glue was better. So that's why it says that up here in their logo. Willie and I can tell you a lot of stories about Bob Rue. One of them was we went to a train show and jump out of the car, and it's time to go to the bathroom. And Willie and I go in the men's bathroom, and Bob goes in the women's bathroom. Pretty soon, Bob comes out. Everybody's laughing. Of course, Willie says, "Should we tell him?" No, let's not tell him. So then you got Sidem. Anybody build Sidem buildings?
Years and years ago.
This one's, of course, all metal, but this is wood. This is where the Cobb house was. And this was at Gladstone. This was a corn crib here, which I've never built the corn crib, but I put the concrete floor in case I ever wanted to. And of course, here's a scale house, so that you come in and weigh and dump and come back and weigh again. And then this is a Sidem depot, which was very similar to the Milwaukee depots. And it's made out of cardboard. And here is their freight house, which is really old. I suspect I built that probably in the 70s. That's how old it is. The cardboard holds up well. This is all wood around here, and all of the trim was in wood.
Is that Sidham or Alexander?
Well, it's Sidham.
Okay.
I think. Now that you see, you question now. Now I'm not sure.
If it has a bay window on the front, on the other side, it may be Alexander, and it's a Pennsylvania Railroad.
Oh, it's definitely not that one, because I built that one. It is in the Keystone magazine.
Yeah.
If you look back a number of years, you'll find the one I built. They printed that one.
Oh, neat.
So I know it's not Alexander.
Okay.
And that's the end, and I'm done. And I guess we'll quit early tonight.
Yeah, well, thank you, Ron. Anybody else have anything to share?
Well, I just gotta get downtown in Omaha. If you guys haven't been watching the College World Series, the main show is across the street. UP has a 15 car passenger train parked on the other side of Cummings Street for everyone to go over and see. And I haven't been down yet to take pictures, but this year they have their veterans camouflage engine on the lead of it. Usually it's one of the steam engines.
Send us some pictures and I'll put it on for everybody to take a look at.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to try and get down there this weekend, so I'm hoping it's still there. I was picking up people at the airport the other day when I drove by it, so couldn't stop to take pictures. That's it.
That sounds good. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. We'll quit early and see you next week. Have a great weekend.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Right.